the interests of a much larger constituency than of a particular group. And finally, that we should go and enforce the rules. Simple point, just enforce the rules. On its anniversary, 50th anniversary, the Parliament passed a resolution. Parliament said that anybody stepping into the whole Parliament, joint session, anybody stepping into the well of the House will be automatically suspended. Do you see any presiding officer enforcing it? Why not? Because he is salivating. He is looking for the next job. So he does not want to offend anybody. So these simple things should be done. And I personally feel that you need to go much farther than this. The first point to do is cut the cord between the executive and the legislature to a large extent. The chief executive should be elected by the whole country, and he can select a cabinet from outside the legislature also. And unlike the American system where you get best people, just look at our defense ministers, man. What competence they have and what competence Panetta has. Those fellows are experts. He's been the head of CIA. He's their defense minister. So, but today, you cannot get such experts elected to the legislature, and the best meaning prime minister is confined to choosing from within the legislature. So you can't get experts in the most important jobs in India. So it changed that 1/3 of the cabinet can be selected from outside the legislature. But unlike the American system, we should have a system in which you can have the person, he is not a member of the legislature, so he cannot vote in the legislature, but he participates in the debates of the legislature. That is not a radical formulation. Dr. Manmohan Singh, being a member of the Rajya Sabha, cannot vote in the Lok Sabha, but he participates. Maybe that is wrong. Some other Prime Minister will have the occasion to participate in the Lok Sabha debate. So such changes. And the upper chamber. Do you know, we talk about this elitism. Do you know which country is now thinking of having an upper chamber which will be a house of talent and achievement? Rajaji said it, but which country is today going to have it? That the upper house shall be a house of talent and achievement. It's China. They are thinking of having a house of elite achievers and elite talented people with that expertise. That will be the upper chamber. Now why don't we think of it? Because we have hobbled ourselves with these false notions. No, that will be inequality, that will be nonsense. I have got the more radical proposals, you will find them in that book, but I personally feel that unless such changes are thought of, let me just give you one and then I'll finish. Can I take 5 more minutes? Right? Just one. You see, today our constituencies are large, but still they are amenable to that kind of inflaming only 10%. And you cannot get good persons, talented people to come into the house. You can't get Palkhiwala there. Though we owe the dike of the basic structure to Palkhiwala. Why? He does not have the money. He is a Parsi, so he doesn't have the cars. He will not use black money. He does not have access to a criminal network. So he can't come. But how to enable him to come? So in the German system, it is a list system. You don't go and vote for a candidate, you vote for the list put up by a party. Now in India, we are so large that we can't have one list of 540 persons. Because a person who has done very good work in Kerala will not be known in Assam, and vice versa. So Mr. L.P. Singh suggested, club the neighbouring 10 constituencies. In that, have a list of each political party. So every political party would have an incentive of having at least one or two good persons on its list so as to give luster to its entire list. So the Congress gets 30% of the votes. Therefore, of the 10 candidates, 10 seats, 3 will go to the Congress. But I have a modification of that problem, of the proposal, that you should not have, every party should not put up 10 candidate list. Every party should put up a 30 candidate list. And when the Congress gets 30% of the votes and is allowed to have 3 persons from that 10-member constituency in the House, then which 3 of those 30 should be determined by a lottery. Why? Because then you are weakening the influence of money. You are weakening the influence of caste. You are weakening the influence of Muslim, non-Muslim. You are weakening, completely erasing the influence of the candidate having some nexus with the criminal network. So I personally feel that my proposals are that what we are seeing today in Assam, in J&K, in Afzal Guru, in all the things that Hanuman Chaudhary was listing and was just in his sagacious way was hinting towards, those are symptoms of the fact that this constitutional system is not working and requires both simple modifications and a relook in a big way. The interesting thing is that this was an active debate till the 1970s. You have Mr. B.K. Nehru's Rajaji Memorial Lecture pleading for the constitution to be changed to a presidential system. You have Jayaprakash Narayan's famous lecture on a plea for the reconstruction of Indian polity. You have Mr. L.P. Singh, a great administrator, giving proposals. But by the 42nd Amendment, the whole thing was stopped. Because people said any tinkering with the constitution means that somebody is planning to bring a dictatorship into the country. I feel that those of us who are outside the system should revise that particular debate and work out proposals in detail. And then we will be able to really contribute to saving the situation from what it has begun, from what it has become, and that is how we will be actually honoring and not just paying lip service to the memory of such a distinguished academic like Professor Ganesh. Thank you so very much. Thank you.